But let's say in terms of Erock, maybe he's very happy. He's living a dream to be a producer for O&A. It's something that he always wanted. He got it. He's got a great chick. He lives in New York City. He works in New York City. He's having a great time. Why do you look down on that?
Because he is not. He's the shit. He may be on paper. If you want to look at a resume, that's fine. If you want to look at a person, that's not where he's at. He's the lowest guy on the totem pole in that show. Sam shits on him. He's constantly pulled in. He's constantly
garbage on top of shit.
You can't have a point where you're just, I'm feeling bad about myself. Let me bully this individual.
Oh, yeah, come on in, dude. Look who's here.
Oh, it's Erik Nagel.
It's Erock. How are you, pal?
What's up, man?
I suppose you heard some of this.
Yeah.
Surprised to hear it?
Yeah, a little bit, considering I really don't know Scott too well here, other than I knew he was an intern here. I did catch the last end, other than you telling me that I'm shit. I'm the lowest end on the totem pole here. I'm actually the second highest under O&A on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Do I get shit on the air? Yes. Do I take a lot of shit? Yes. But that's also sort of the role that I play for the show.
Correct.
Now, you're also saying, oh, he's sitting in an office and he's working on audio by himself and that's no life. Maybe that's my job.
Correct.
You know? Sometimes you need to be the guy behind the people who do everything on the air. So that's what I do. Okay.
If you're looking for me to disagree with you, you're not going to have that. But
I'm not looking
about
for you to disagree. I'm correcting you on your assessment here.
All right. What you said, and perhaps you missed it because you were walking here, and it took you a little bit, was that I was really talking about on paper, you look great. But I would never have my Scotty has only so much value.
Who is Scotty? You?
Me.
Oh, so you're talking
to refer
to
myself in third person.
Okay.
So if I would say I have so much value, so I could not have somebody have any type of slanders or mudslinging on my character, which is only worth so much. So if you keep on letting that happen day in and day out, you may say I have a comfortable situation, but when you have callers calling in and you have every single person on your staff taking dumps on you, it eventually gets to the point where congratulations, you're a very well compensated garbage man because you go home at the end of the day and you have dog shit on your shoes and your wife says, thanks for bringing home the bacon, but I have to sweep off the floor every single time you come in.
Okay, let me point out, my chick has her own career, all right? So I'm not bringing home the bacon. We both do it kind of equally. Second of all, you're saying, oh, I'm fucking garbage man. I take shit on the air. Yes, I do. But behind the scenes, from the on-air talent, from the management here, they like what I do. They're very happy with the job that I put out for these guys. So if there was a big problem that I just sat around taking shit all the time, you think I would still have been here like 5-6 years later? No. Okay? If I was just going to sit here and constantly just be treated like a piece of shit that I don't do anything right, I would have left myself. Okay? But that's not the case. On the air is one thing, behind the scenes is another. Like Dave. Dave is great on the air. He takes a lot of shit. But behind the scenes, Dave's also fucking brilliant at what he does. Okay? So you think Dave's going to take a lot of shit? If these guys are just like, Dave, you don't do anything right.
They did that for the last half hour, though.
On the air. But if this was the case for 5 years, if Dave couldn't do a fucking thing right, you think he'd still be here or want to be here?
There have been examples of that. For instance, Than on the Opie and Anthony show had a nice, well-compensated job. He still left it to give something else a shot because he didn't want to be part of the constant targeting that you guys have.
He also wasn't on the air that much. He was a behind-the-scenes guy.
And you are a behind-the-scenes guy as well. Until you're brought
I
in...
don't understand. Why are you doing an internship in radio?
Exactly.
And here are the guys that would be the successful guys in radio, and you act like they've thrown their lives away.
It's not about throwing your life away necessarily. It's about there is a brand, which is the Ron and Fez show. But there's also the brand, which is Erik Nagel. And if you have to represent both brands equally in terms of pushing your own agenda as well as the agenda of the greater corporation which you happen to work for. And I feel like Erik would have himself be completely flat because he's been stepped on so much for the greater good of the Opie and Anthony show. And I'm not sure if that's the healthiest perspective to have.
Okay, on the air, because that's the role I have been accustomed to playing and what they kind of want. Okay, so that's what I do on the air. As far as my brand, my name's not on the fucking wall or on this channel here. Ron and Fez and Opie and Anthony, those are the brands. I work for Opie and Anthony, so it's not my spot to go, hey, here's where I stand. You're not going to shit on me because I'm
You don't even
fucking
defend
Scotty.
yourself.
Oh, I do. There's times that I don't. There's times that I do. I pick and choose. Okay? But there's a lot of shit that goes on that you know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ron said, you want to intern in radio. Most of the successful shows have a staff that gets shit on. Ron and Fez, Opie and Anthony, Howard. That's what the business is. You got to take your shots and you give your shots, okay? You're coming in here like you're better than everybody.
No, good luck taking a shot at me because you're going to get shot at back. That's
really?
The thing
You want me to
I put
get Sam in here after you shot on his show saying he was secondary?
on. If you want, you can bring as many people in here as
You're
you
dealing
want.
with
But
fire with that. You really are. You're being a total asshole to everybody here.
I'm not being an asshole. A secondary show, I was not shitting on Sam and Dave. I was actually on Sam and Dave on Saturday when you guys were there, and I referred to it as a spin-off.
So
it's two characters, one from the Ron and Fez show, one from the Opie and
you said
Anthony
a
show.
secondary show, then quickly said, oh, it's a spinoff. Then you said, oh, am I going to be satisfied with a career board hopping for a secondary show? They asked me to come in and help them out, all right? It's not my job to do their show or be a part of their show. They asked me. So I said, sure, I'd help them out. So you're going to shit on me for helping out a secondary show when those two guys are trying to make something because I'm helping them out because I'm not the one on the mic trying to make a name for myself?
Well, I'm concerned about your stagnation. You have a great situation right now, but I just don't see any type of forward momentum.
What the
which
fuck
would be
do
a
you
concern
know?
to me.
You don't even know half the opportunities I have coming up.
Where are they?
It's none of your fucking business.
If you're going to have something where you're saying, listen, I'm not going to take somebody fucking with my public image, you might as well want to defend your public image by citing examples of saying,
people know
listen,
my public
I have...
image on this show. Yeah, I'm Erock on Opie and Anthony. What does Erock do? He does stupid stunts, he gets shit on, and the butt of a lot of jokes, all right? But that's the role I do. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't fucking be here.
Correct.
Okay? If they didn't like it, I wouldn't be here.
Correct.
Okay? So if you came in to get a job, I don't know with Ron and Fez, but say with our show, and you're going to be the guy where I'm not going to take any of this shit, well, get the fuck out of here. This is radio. This is what we do.
Let me ask you something about real life, Scotty, since you know a lot about radio. Do you think that there could be a morning show position that was looking for an executive producer in America that wouldn't let him in the door to at least interview?
Absolutely not.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think there would be a PD job in America that he's not qualified to go for?
Absolutely not.
So you think he would get both of those?
Correct. Erock has taught me a lot. In fact, he's actually been incredibly helpful for me.
Where? You mean backstage here?
In terms of behind-the-scenes stuff?
Yeah.
There's obviously...
Does it surprise you, Erock?
A little bit, because I don't know what the fuck I taught you. I had very little interaction with you.
Well,
other than you sitting with your legs crossed real fancy out on the recliner waiting for us to get out so you could set up the studio.
Well, with Chris out last week, I was in charge of every single time Ron and Fez have a replay. I've been cutting that one up.
I didn't help you with that.
I've been using your computer all last week. And
so that's not me helping you. You used my desk.
You've talked to me in terms of my first week. I was all jumbled, had a bad week, and you gave me a perspective on the differences in how you can fit in on the show. You had an entire talk with me outside the studio.
Okay, so if I helped you, I don't remember this conversation, but I'll take your word for it because probably I did. So if we had this conversation and I actually took some time to help you, so now it's, wow, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know what you're doing. How are you in this business?
You don't know what you're doing. I've never said that.
Really? This last hour just seemed to be translating to, not just to me, but to Franklin, to Dave, to a few other people. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing other than Scott. Scott knows everything. Scott's entitled to everything.
It had nothing to do with
behind
the scenes on the Opie and Anthony.
Because you're telling us how you'll use every advantage to your future thing, but you think a guy like Erock could fuck you up if you ever decide to work in radio? You think he could call people and say this guy's a douchebag?
Correct. He could blackball me, definitely.
So how does this follow your philosophy?
It's because Erock is confusing my perspective on his radio talent, which is being able to do the things he does for the Opie and Anthony show, which is cut up audio, getting everything done, and being a producer on that show with his personality and how he handles himself. We were talking about our ability to socialize, our ability to try to find somebody that can suit yourself, and how you handle yourself when you're walking around the halls here. And that's where I was criticizing, because the person I feel that out of everybody on 202 and 197 that has the least regard for himself in terms of public demeanor would be Erik. And we kind of transform this into his skill set's radio, in which case he transcends me. I understand that. But for a holistic human, I just don't know that Erik's complete at that yet.
You're an